Danny Ketch Ghost Rider issue number 4 from Marvel Comics. So this is actually the conclusion to this little mini-series. In this, we get the origin story of the big bad, and we also get the final showdown and all that stuff. So let's just jump right in. So we start off with a flashback several years ago. So several years from the 90s, because the present day of this mini-series is the 90s. So several years ago. So that'll be like, what, I guess the 80s. So we see the Morlocks, and one of them, his name is Scav. He runs over and he's basically begging for help. He says that his throat, his stomach, it all burns. He tasted something bad in the cemetery and it's doing something to him. And the other Morlocks get pissed at him and they exile him because there was a massacre of the Morlocks. And it says, see here, X-Men Mutant Massacre. And Scav went around eating the dead bodies of the fallen Morlocks, which was a big no-no, so he's been exiled. And he basically kind of becomes Golem, only instead of being obsessed with, his precious, he becomes obsessed with quenching his hunger. He's like forever hungry. And no matter what he eats, he can't make the pain in his stomach go away. And we get even this sad moment where we see these two Morlock children going out to play and they get captured by Scav and eaten. And then we cut to the present day, where we have Johnny, Ghost Rider, Danny Ketch, and the Caretaker. And they're basically saying, hey, we need to go save Stacy, Roxanne, and the kids. And the Caretaker's like, all right, come with me. I can lead you to where they're at, or at least where I'm sensing them. So he takes them into a crypt. And while in the crypt, there's a bunch of tunnels that lead to other crypts. And he's able to lead them to where they need to go. Meanwhile, the Scav has now just become this giant, obese, demonic dude. And he has captured Stacy, Roxanne, and the kids. And for some reason, he brings them out to taunt them, only to send them away. Yeah, I don't know why we have this little moment here. As soon as Johnny, Danny, and the Caretaker arrive out of Prospect Cemetery in Queens, they get attacked by the Broker. And the Broker is basically like, if you want to find my master, take this path. Meanwhile, I'm going to deal with the Caretaker. And the reason why he's doing this is because he's pretty much leading the Ghost Riders into a trap. They go and follow the path, and they fall into the trap where they come across the Scav. And Roxanne, Stacy, and the kids are back again. So again, it's just kind of weird because it's like, all right, we're going to bring out Roxanne, Stacy, and the kids so we can taunt them and basically say how we're going to eat you. And then I want you to put them back into their cell, only to then bring them out again when Johnny and Danny show up. I don't know. It's just whatever. The Scav, Scarecrow, and Blackout get ready to attack Danny and Johnny when Stacy stabs Blackout with a knife and he backhands her and she's knocked out. So, she just takes one hit and she's down for the count. So Danny transforms into Ghost Rider and we pretty much just get a showdown. Scav stops Scarecrow and Blackout from attacking and he starts siphoning their powers. So basically he gave them powers to boost them up and now he's taking the powers back. And I guess since he gave them the powers and they use those powers to wreak havoc on people, it gave them a boost and now he's eating that boost. And so Scav mutates and he becomes even larger. And eventually the Broker who's fighting Caretaker realizes that things are getting out of control. It turns out that the Scav is not actually his master, but just his client. And his client is going past the agreements that, were set. So now he's going to team up with the Caretaker. And there's a little bit more. I'm not going to spoil it. Here's what I'll say about this series. I liked it, but it was pointless. It contributes nothing whatsoever to the Ghost Rider lore, as far as I know. There's this whole moment where the Scav has a piece of the medallion that I guess Danny uses to transform into the Ghost Rider. And that piece, Danny does not get that piece back. But I don't know if that piece plays a part in the Danny run. Because this is supposed to take place during Volume 3 of Ghost Rider, where Danny Ketch gets introduced and becomes the main lead. I haven't read all that. I've only read the first issue, so who knows if that comes into play. but this feels very much like a pointless miniseries. It's just kind of here, like here's a little side story, but it doesn't contribute anything whatsoever to the lore of Ghost Rider as far as I know. I don't know. It's also kind of funny how like we're making this big thing about this medallion, but I think after Howard Mackey's run, and Howard Mackey is the one who's writing this, I think after his run on Ghost Rider Volume 2, like all the other writers pretty much dropped the whole medallion thing. As far as I know, like I said, I haven't really read much of Danny, but I have read pretty much everything else with Johnny in it, or at least a majority of stuff with Johnny in it. And of course, Danny makes cameos and appearances and crossovers in those events, and the medallion is never played up again. Yeah, it's just kind of weird how this issue kind of makes a big deal about the medallion. Both the Scav wants to eat Danny's medallion to gain strength, plus he already has a piece of the medallion within him that the Ghost Rider and stuff are trying to get back. So it's like they play the medallion up as this big thing, but as far as I know, it goes nowhere because all the other writers after Howard Mackey kind of just dropped the whole medallion thing altogether. So yeah, it's just, like I said, I like this, but it just feels kind of like a waste of time. Also, it's pretty much for anyone who watches anime, it feels like watching a good filler episode where it's like, okay, that was fun and entertaining, but it contributes nothing to the actual story in any way. It's not taken as canon. We can just completely ignore this altogether and it won't affect anything. So it's just kind of there. So it's kind of just wasting time until we can get back to the main story. Except here, there is no main story because this is just a mini spin-off side story that takes place during Volume 3, which has already concluded decades ago. So, yeah, I guess if you're okay with that, check it out. Like I said, it's a fun story. A little bit cliche at times, kind of cheesy dialogue. Doesn't really lead to anything unless they're going to do another sequel to this or they're going to spin off of this spin-off. Other than that, I don't see this leading anywhere. So if you're okay with that, if you just want to read a good story and you don't care how it plays into the continuity of everything else, then sure, check it out. But if you don't, if you feel like that's a waste of time, then I guess you can skip this series altogether because, yeah, that is pretty much just filler. So there you go. There's Danny Ketch Ghost Rider, issue number 4 out of 4 from Marvel Comics. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope to see you next time. Take care. Later. So what did you guys think of that video? I hope you guys enjoyed. If you guys haven't already, please subscribe, hit that bell for a notification, leave a like if you enjoyed the video. And if you didn't enjoy the video, thank you for watching it this far, and I hope the next video is more to your liking. Feel free to check out the playlist that you guys see, and I hope to see you guys next time. Later.